Turn now to the bombshell causing shockwaves around the world.
The largest leak of secret documents in history.
This was a really important leak. We had emails, we had passport scans, we had corporation documents.
We had the goods on how it worked.
There's another set of tax rules for the fortunate and the well-connected. Income inequality, poverty, drug trafficking. A lot of the keys to addressing those problems are in the Panama Papers.
It's real. Journalists have been killed.
Everything you thought was happening, here's the evidence, it is.
Politicians are trying to distance themselves from the Panama Papers.
That sounds so scary. Like, it sounds like a movie trailer scary, and it's real life. 888-742-3345. Alex Winter is back on the show, a citizen of Sway in the Morning. We love him. And he actually produced, wrote, and directed 2 documentaries. I'm already getting phone calls about the blockchain documentary. I haven't even started talking about that yet. But the Panama Papers is what we are hearing a clip of first. And obviously, what I heard was stuck out to me, Alex, is that the well-connected live by a different set of rules.
They do indeed. Yeah.
And you kind of work every day. You get up, you get your paycheck, or whatever happens at the end of the week, or bi-weekly here at SiriusXM, and you try to figure it out. And deep down inside, I think we all want to be one of those well-connected, and have that financial peace that we all dream of. But then listening to something like this, there's a whole dark side and a black market going on. How do you get in, Alex? I'm down. No. How does this stuff happen?
Well, I mean, it's been going on forever. As long as there's been, societies, there have been people stealing from everybody else.
Right.
It's just kind of human nature. But what this incredible group of journalists uncovered was the kind of systemic nature of this corruption, where you have systems that are in place that make it easier for people in a certain financial sector, if they want to either be unethical or flat out break the law. They're not just hiding. I think that the mistake people make is thinking, well, these people maybe they don't want to pay taxes. It's their business. It's their money. But really, it's your money that they're getting in the end. It's your resources. Because if they're not paying any of their taxes and they're earning the kind of income that we're talking about, where trillions and trillions of dollars.
You're talking trillions.
Trillions are not making their way into the public coffers, and that's your health care, that's your education, that's your clean drinking water, that's your streets, that's everything within your infrastructure. So when that money comes out of your paycheck and it's not coming out of theirs, that's a big problem.
Mm-hmm. Yo, he said trillions. I'm sitting here thinking about, he's talking like a couple of million. This is with a T.
Oh, yeah, this would wipe out the deficit. This would wipe out, this would be, clean drinking water in Flint. This would be your kids having an education. This would be medical care for everybody. It's that level of corruption.
I'm curious it is crazy. I'm curious, how did you get involved? Like, did you go sort this out, or did someone come to you and say, we need you and your eye to produce this and direct
a little of both. I mean,
okay.
I follow stories about journalists. I follow stories about whistleblowers and leakers and things like that. It's an area I'm interested in. This was the biggest coordinated act of journalism in history. It was 400 journalists working in total secret, encrypted drives, encrypted everything, risk of death, very high stakes. The bad guys here are pretty bad. So some people did come to me and ask me to get involved.
Yeah.
And I knew the story, but I also knew that it hadn't really broken all the way yet, that there was a lot more that was going to come out. So me and my team just kind of rolled up our sleeves. We were also encrypted and, keeping a careful eye on all of our communications. And then we just rolled up our sleeves and started traveling the world following the story.
At any point, did you get scared?
Not on this one, no.
Okay.
I've worked on other stuff that's a little scarier, because on this one, really, the journalists were the ones who were facing the threat. And, one of them did get killed at one point while we were shooting. And, so the stakes were high for them.
Yeah.
But I wasn't breaking stories. I was really making a movie about journalists. That's really what the movie is about.
Yeah, DB.
We have a lot of filmmakers who listen to our show, and you yourself, last time you were here, you were doing dark web.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got Panama Papers, you've got blockchain coming up next, and just like the ICIJ, who were the group of journalists, they had to double check all their sources and make sure that the people they were getting the information from were trusted and not just like some random guy who doesn't know what he's talking about. So as a filmmaker, when you're doing a documentary, what kind of precautions do you have to take to make sure that you're not interviewing somebody who doesn't know shit, or it's actually somebody involved?
Yeah, it's very similar. Movies aren't journalism, but there are processes that are really similar, and that part is almost exactly the same. We do a lot of vetting. I'll end up having sources that are never going to be on camera, that are my sources that I'm using to verify information. Wow. On Deep Web, on that doc, we had quite a few that were pretty hairy, frankly, who were definitely just, they were digital criminals, but they had information that I needed in order to verify certain aspects of the story. On this one, a lot of it was talking to journalists and talking to some people who were on the bad side of this, who did not want to go on camera at all, but using those sources to verify. So that was why we needed encryption and things like that, was because oftentimes it wasn't the people that I was filming, it was the people that I was talking to behind the scenes.
Wow. Tracy?
Is there another scandal that you're thinking about doing a documentary of? Because I feel like there's so much, like every day we're talking about how politics is just evolving, breaking news across the hour. Is there anything right now that you have your eyes set on?
I mean, there are some things I can't actually talk about.
Yeah, Tracy's just going to tell you and blurt it. We got 32 million subscribers here. Just keep it between us, Alex.
This is off the record. Right. There are a lot of things going on right now. Yeah. The world is getting smaller, which in a lot of ways is great. But that also poses a threat to a lot of people who would like to hold on to whatever power they have. So, the bad guys are definitely upping their game at the moment.
Wow.
So there's a lot going on, and we keep our eyes on a lot of it. But I'm doing docs that are not political as well. I'm doing a big doc on Frank Zappa right now, a big music doc, and I'm about to start another one that's about the entertainment industry. It takes a kind of interesting look at it, but I'm getting out of the political game for a moment because my brain is going to melt.
Yeah. Right. Well, one last thing though, Alex, because Mike Muse here, sitting next to you, does our political news here at Sway in the Morning. He also has a show on the Insight Channel. Mike, you had a question for Alex as well.
Yeah, I did. I think the timing of it is just so fascinating in terms of the Panama Papers, and in particular, President Trump's tax bill that just passed recently. Yeah. We just completed our midterms, so now it's time for 2020 presidential elections, and taxes will be back on the table again because we have to figure out how do we pay for these services. We always talk about, at least I always talk about on the show, in terms of the loophole that exists, right? So for some of these aspects, it is legal for these individuals to do this offshore account. Does your documentary cover any of that aspect of it in terms of how it is legal for these business individuals here in the United States and corporations to create these offshore accounts? And then is there any conversation the journalists have had in terms of what we could do to stop the loopholes, including now Senator-elect Mitt Romney has also mentioned that in some of his conversations?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I mean, that was what interested me about this story was it wasn't just crime, legal and illegal activity. A lot of this activity is legal. It's just really unethical, right? It's like there are some laws that should not be laws. The funny thing, the story is called Panama Papers, and people always look to kind of third world countries or smaller countries as being the perpetrators. The biggest perpetrator of tax evasion in the world is the UK and the US by a mile. And in the U.S., it's basically legal. Yeah. Delaware, Wyoming, Nevada, we have created loopholes in this country. You don't have to go to Panama to set up an offshore account. You can do it in your backyard. You can do it online. You can set up a Delaware LLC in 5 minutes and hide whatever money you want. So, the big, I'd say, message of the film really is that this is a systemic problem everywhere, but laws are beginning to change. Like, they're ripping the Band-Aid off with this story. They really are. They've uncovered the mechanisms of how it works worldwide. There are senators, there are people in Congress who are working to change the laws to create more transparency. And as bad as everything is, I'm actually pretty hopeful that will happen over time. I don't think we're going to get this immediate, the rich aren't going to get our money anymore. No, they are. But over time, we are going to be, I really do believe we'll be creating reform. And there's a lot of people in D.C. that are working on that, even though we've got an administration that is literally filled with tax dodgers from top to bottom. There's a lot of good people in the Beltway that are working hard to try to make things better.
888-742-3345. Noah and Dan, stay on the line. We're going to talk about blockchain up next. I know you have questions. You want to talk to Alex, though, call us up. Sway in the Morning, Shade 45. 888-742-3345. Call us up, citizens, because Alex Winter is here hanging out with us. He wrote, produced, and directed the documentary The Panama Papers, premiering tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Epix. First phone call, though, I told Alex, I said, damn, man, you busy, because everybody's calling about this blockchain documentary that he also wrote, produced, and directed. It's called The Trust Machine. Let me give it the exact title. Trust Machine, the story of blockchain. And Noah, you've been holding on forever. Since Alex walked into this room, you've been holding on. How you doing, Noah? Thank you for your patience.
I'm doing great. How
I
about
got
you,
you, baby. I got you. Alex is here. What do you want to ask him?
All right, Alex. So everyone knows about Bitcoin. Everyone knows about what's going on with it. Not all people know about the technology blockchain behind it. Is this documentary going to be talking about blockchain's uses in, for example, the medical field and what technology it may be able to hold in the future?
Yes, I mean that's the whole thing. Is blockchain is really just the digital ledger that undergirds all this cryptocurrency, right? So Bitcoin has its own blockchain. Every different cryptocurrency has its own blockchain. It's the record of all the transactions. That sounds really simple, but it has a lot of uses. And the movie isn't just an evangelistic look at blockchain. We look at the negatives. We look at the hype. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of BS in this space. As we've seen with the bubble of last year, a lot of people lost their shirts investing in different cryptocurrencies. But blockchain has enormous uses. We went to refugee camps in Jordan where the World Food Program is using blockchain to help feed refugees. We were with the UN, who are working all over the world to tag refugees with blockchain technology, solar, climate change, dealing with hurricanes, you name it. There are so many different fields that people are investigating with this technology. So we traveled all over the world looking at a lot of those.
You good, Alex, now? You good?
Yep.
No, I know. I mean, Alex, I'm sorry. Noah, you good?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay, you got to talk to Alex. You're a citizen of Sway in the Morning. I got Dan on the line that wants to talk to Alex about blockchain. What's up, Dan?
Danny.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good, good. Patience is a virtue.
Yeah, man, but I got y'all through. Alex is here. I was like, yo, thank you for holding. Okay, you welcome. Say you had to be hooked you up. All right, talk to Alex.
Hey, Alex,
Hey,
how's
man.
it going?
Good.
Good. So my question is, basically, I've been in blockchain for a few years, and I've seen what happened with Bitcoin. It's plummeting right now, and I'm basically highly involved with Ripple. Do you see Ripple surpassing Bitcoin right now?
The one thing I never do is offer crypto advice.
Smart man. You're smart for that.
Who knows? I mean, honestly, who knows? I'm sure you probably feel the same way if you're deep in this world. I've been following this space for, since it popped up, and even some of the people dealing with theories around cryptocurrency back in like the cypherpunk days, and it's the Wild West. It really is, in my opinion. And I don't think we know where the dust is going to settle yet in terms of which of these specifically will hold. Personally, I'm a little more interested in the blockchain technology and its potential than I am so much in the kind of crypto battles that are going on. But I do think, we are going to have some of these are going to last. A lot of them are going to go away. It's a lot like the internet bubble of the late 90s.
Well, basically, the question was like with Ripple around politics and banks right now. How do you feel about that?
Honestly, I think we are going to see regulation. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that we're going to see regulation. I think we're going to see it on both on the financial side and in terms of how banks are processing these things and which ones they want to take and which ones they don't. And I absolutely think we're going to see government regulation for sure.
Okay.
Dan, did you have a chance to check out the doc yet?
No, I'm going to for sure, though.
Yeah,
I'm going to.
Make sure you check that out. That's going to come out when, Alex? The story of
that's
blockchain.
gonna that'll be out. We were out in some theaters already. Then we're going to start doing promos next year. Then we'll be out wide in March, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, so make sure you check it out. But tonight, check out the Panama Papers as well. That's on Epix, 9 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it. You're a citizen of Sway in the Morning. Mike Muse.
Alex, I know you don't give crypto advice, but I'm curious on your thoughts, though, in terms of, I have this theory about blockchain when it comes to voting, right? And we see all these long lines that occur in this last midterm election. We saw people standing. We saw all the miscounts, and we're still counting ballots by hand in this digital age that we're living in. I think it's insane. I have this theory that blockchain could be used in terms of for going digital in terms of our voting. Just what's your take on that? Do you have an opinion on that?
I do. I mean, I'll try to keep it short. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a really good question. A lot of people have been talking about this. There's really, as you've probably seen, there's two very staunch camps in that space. There are people who really think the blockchain could help reform elections, which desperately need to be reformed. It's completely broken. We all know that. It doesn't work, or it's just flat out rigged. And technology actually helps you rig election devices even more easily, unfortunately.
Wow.
So it's a scarier thing. But then there are people who adamantly believe blockchain should not be let anywhere near the election process. And I just want to see reform in elections, full stop. I don't doubt that some form of a list or ledger is going to be necessary to do that. I just don't exactly know what that's going to look like. And it also starts to fall out of my technical domain. But I don't want to plug someone I don't even really know. But if you want to follow Matt Blaze on Twitter, Matt has had some of and he's a very well-regarded computer scientist. Very, very high-level opinions on blockchain and the electoral process from someone who is an expert in that.
What's his name again?
Matt Blaze.
Matt Blaze, like Blaze?
Yes.
All right. Y'all follow him, citizens, and get your information in. Thank you again, Alex, for coming through. We appreciate you always. Citizens, don't forget, tonight, the Panama Papers, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's on Epics. And then look for Blockchain March 2019. Come out, and Alex will come back again and answer some more questions for you guys. We appreciate you so much. Celebrity Wire up next. Tracy G.
Dwight Howard, sex scandal. I'll let you know the details.
For being on some chick.